We don't know would be the equivalent of taking that 8-ounce glass of water and pouring that into the ocean. Wow. So let's be real. We don't have a clue. We don't have a clue. Folks think they know God. They don't have a clue. So, what I want us to begin to realize is that what we know is insignificant compared to all there is to know. And if we could put our egos aside for 1 minute, we would realize that despite all the technology, the iPods and computers and all of this stuff, we're still primitive beings. And specifically, what we know today pales in comparison to what was known in ancient times. So, our innate desire to know these unknown unknowns is what is expressed in the interest that has been generated by this DVD and book called The Secret. It truly has been a phenomenon. Within the last year, millions of copies of the book and the DVD have been sold worldwide. And it's not unlike the Da Vinci Code phenomenon of 4 years ago. The Secret has captured the imagination of millions of people throughout the world. And it represents their effort to yearn to understand the hidden mysteries of life, the unknown unknowns. So the question is, what is the secret? What is the secret? Well, the secret is a movement that was initiated by this woman, Rhonda Byrne, who is was a Australian television producer. And to many people, the secret represents the next evolution in human consciousness. It represents the reintroduction of ageless wisdom, universal laws, and principles which will allow the masses of people throughout the world to become the masters of their own destiny. The 90-minute DVD, which she produced of The Secret, begins with a burned out and depressed Rhonda Byrne, taking a vacation to reassess her life. Her father had just died. She was having problems with her production company. Her relationships were in turmoil. So she just needed to get away, to have some quiet time, to reevaluate her life. And as she was unpacking her suitcase, she found a book which her daughter had placed inside of her suitcase. And that book was a book entitled The Science of Getting Rich, written by a man by the name of Wallace D. Waddell in 1910. And the book focused on how you could use your thoughts in order to attract wealth in your life. And as Wallace D. Waddell says in the book, riches don't necessarily relate to monetary wealth. And that everyone deserves the right to be rich, because you can't live life without wealth. You can't take care of your family. You can't take care of your household. You can't take care of yourself. So it is everyone's right as a human being to be wealthy. And the key to wealth is here in your mind. So Ms. Byrne read this book, and the book inspired her to the extent to which she was able to now see and understand things that were beyond her comprehension. And she realized that she could use her thoughts to attract more prosperity in her life. So inspired by this new perspective, Ms. Byrne did some research. And her research indicated that this document, called the Emerald Tablet, was the source of the secret. And the Emerald Tablet was said to have been written by an Egyptian by the name of Hermes Trismegistus, around 3000 BCE. This was the source of the secret. And so it is said that this tablet, the Emerald Tablet, contained the knowledge of the universe. Okay? So Ms. Byrne then traveled to the United States, and she interviewed 25 people who she said were living in the United States of America and were actively using this information in their lives. And she interviewed them for this documentary. Now, as a result of this documentary, the DVD, it has become the largest grossing DVD of its kind in history. Millions were sold. Initially, it was viewed over the internet, and then people began to purchase the DVD. And that is what spearheaded this phenomenon. So the essence of the DVD and these teachers was brought to national attention when many of the teachers were interviewed in magazines, newspapers, and then began to be interviewed on cable and regular television. But on February the 8th, Oprah Winfrey had several of the teachers and Rhonda Byrne on her show. And during Oprah's conversation with Rhonda Byrne said that she called the DVD The Secret because she wanted to appeal to people's innate desire to want to know the unknown. Secret information. It was an incredible marketing ploy, and that's basically what it was. It was marketing. It was a masterfully produced DVD, which was designed to appeal to attention deficit adults. Okay, very easy to internalize, to ingest, and appeal to your basic instinct. But the reaction to the February 8th show on Oprah Winfrey was so overwhelming. Oprah said that she received more emails, more letters, more telephone calls from that one show than any other show she had done. So 8 days later, she did a second show on The Secret. And that show also began to address some of the issues and concerns that people had about this secret knowledge and help to allay people's fears. Specifically, religious people who felt that this information was antithetical to concepts of God. So they dealt with this. But I'm going to deal with all of this as well. But I want to spend a few minutes and talk about the DVD. How many of you all have seen the DVD? Okay, a handful of people. How many of you all have read the book? A handful of people. Okay, fine. What I want to do is to give you a broad overview of the DVD. And I want to focus specifically on the dramatization in the beginning of the DVD, which shows how The Secret came into existence. So in the DVD, the story begins in Egypt. You see a shot of the pyramids at night in the background. And you see hundreds and hundreds of torches. This represents an invading army which is coming into Kemet. Kemet is now being conquered. And so inside one of the temples where the Emerald Tablet had been held for hundreds of years, we find the priests now have decided they must hide the Emerald Tablet. And so we see a scene where a priest within the temple takes a piece of papyrus, places it over the Emerald Tablet, where he makes a rub. He makes a quick copy of the tablet. And you can see him frantically trying to complete this assignment before the invaders come in and steal this precious document. He then finishes the copy, which he handles off to an elder within the temple. The elder then takes that papyrus document and puts it into a spade. He then instructs the young man to take the Emerald Tablet outside and bury it in the sand. And then what happens, as they explain, The Secret literally went underground. The Emerald Tablet was buried, and the papyrus copy was then safely spirited out of the country just before Egypt fell to the hands of invaders. The Secret was unearthed by members of the Knights Templars in 1070 BC, when they conquered Jerusalem. Okay? And so